What's up? What's up, my angels? It's your girl Nickie. Peace and love. Today's topic is, as you saw by the title, today's topic is domestic violence. This is something. Get out of that bag. This is something that I've been needing to talk about. I was about to say wanting to, but I haven't been wanting to, but I've been feeling a need to talk about it because it's something that has personally affected my life on so many levels, in different ways, in different times of my life, in different stages of my life. And it's not something that's good to hold inside. But a lot of times, oftentimes, people who have been victimized by it, and I do the air quotes because being a victim is a choice. And I don't want anybody to take that wrong, but I will explain that. I'm going to explain it now so I won't forget. Being a victim is a choice in the sense of what happened, what the person did to you. They may have taken that choice away from you by forcing whatever the situation is on you. But choosing to be a victim or to be victorious and to view yourself as a survivor and as a strong individual versus choosing to view yourself as a weak individual, as a victim, that's a choice that only you can make. You have to make that choice, not to allow somebody else to make that choice for you, because not making a choice is making a choice. I hope you guys can understand that. But I want to talk about domestic violence, and what inspired me and motivated me to do this. I want to give credit to Queen Naija, because she made the song Too Much to Say, and pretty much her whole album, her whole new album is amazing. It's very inspiring to others who have similar situations or the same situations, and can definitely relate, and it's inspiring for somebody who has had a so to say fear of talking about it. Sometimes it's a fear of talking about it, sometimes it's not. Fear may not be the right word. I don't know what to call it. For me, it wasn't necessarily a fear. It was more of me not trying to dredge up more negative energy and more negative situations, and to create more negative situations, because the whole goal of talking about it for me would to be to get rid of the negative energy and to create solutions and to create resolutions. And I haven't felt that I found the type of circumstances or the type of situations where that would be the case. I know, me personally, my personal experiences with domestic violence, the people involved, I'm going to say all of them. I think all of them will call me a liar. Yeah. I know for a fact a couple of them already have called me a liar to my face when I've tried to talk to them one-on-one about it. I'm going to take note from Queen Naija, and I'm not going to identify anybody per se, but a lot of people that know me personally know who did certain things. And I've talked about it to people, but like I said, I haven't gotten the closure or the I haven't been able to really get it out because I haven't had anybody. I've been made to feel like nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to be depressed, and it's depressing. And nobody wants me to, and I get it. Nobody wants somebody to vomit their negative energy and their demons onto them. And I get that. But it's good to release it. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about it. And I feel like it needs to be a talked about subject. Leave it alone. It needs to be talked about because of the fact that, like I said, people are afraid to discuss it. People are feeling like it's just them. People are feeling alone. People are feeling like nobody understands. And it helps a person to know that they are not alone in it. It helps a person to know that there are a lot of people who do understand. And it helps to know that a lot of those people got out of that situation. The reason it helps is because a person who's directly in that situation may not know how to get out of it. It's so many reasons why people stay in a situation. So many different reasons on different levels, and it depends on the situation and the circumstances. Each individual has their own set of circumstances. I'm going to go into a little detail about it, and if people's feelings get hurt, sorry, not sorry. If people feel like their, business is being put out, sorry, not sorry. But I'm not going to say any names. But I've dealt with domestic violence on so many different levels, again, in so many different times and different stages of my life. And to say that, oh, just grow up and get over it is ridiculous. Because the things that happen to you at different stages of your life has a huge impact on who you become as a person. And people need to stop trying to bypass that reality. Yes, you have a choice on what you make of it. I've definitely done a very good job, and I'm going to give myself that credit, whether anybody else wants to or not. I've done a very good job of making a good person out of myself in spite of everything that's happened to me. As a matter of fact, I've used everything that's happened to me and happened with me and around me, and I use that as motivation to be a better person than that. So, and a lot of people can't say that. A lot of people, things happen to them, and they live with a lot of anger and resentment, and they take it out on the world. And I chose not to do that. But as a child, I would say I was like Queen. I just watched Queen Naja's video breaking down her song Too Much to Say, and she said that she was no older than 5 or 6. I would have to say the same thing. The first experience with sexual abuse was when I was less than 5 years old. I say that, and the only reason I know that I was less than 5 years old was because I stopped seeing my mom when I was about 5. Put it back. Put it back. And no, my mom didn't, is not who I'm talking about. But it happened on one of my visitations with my mom. One that I remember, because I did block it from my memory until adulthood. And so I can't say for sure that I remember everything. But some very vivid memories did come back to my mind in adulthood as I was dealing with my sexuality. And so it was some girls who were it was some girls, I'm gonna just say that. And they had me do some things that I knew wasn't right, but I didn't know how to deal with it because, put it back, you're not getting that right now. Because I was always taught, like, okay, let me put it like this. My older sister I hope this phone doesn't stop recording, but my older sister was like 8 years older than me, and of course she was still a child, but in my mind, the way I was raised, she was an adult to me. And so I was to mind her as if I was to mind an adult. When she tells me to do something, I wasn't allowed to talk back to her or anything. So when these girls who were in the same age bracket as my sister told me to do something, although I knew that it wasn't right, I was trained to not talk back and not to go against what I was told to do. And I didn't know how to react to that because I was also taught that telling on an adult could get me in trouble as well. So I did it, and they did it, and you know, I just blocked it from my memory because I was afraid to, I guess I was afraid to remember. I was afraid to tell anybody. And I guess psychologically I didn't want to live with that memory, not being able to tell anybody. And so, yeah, I don't think I told anybody about that until I was an adult. As I got older, a little bit older, I think I was about 11 or 12, I was violated again by some other people who were not related to me visiting my mom. I said no. And so a lot of people know what I'm talking about, whether they try to deny it or not and try to act like they don't remember and all of that, whatever. But they know who did that and at that time period. And yeah, they used to come and basically they were pressuring me. I would be trying to do my homework and they would come in and be like, no, leave it alone. They would come in and with all this let's play house stuff and so on and so forth, and I would tell them no repeatedly and they just wouldn't leave it alone. And me being the one in the house who nobody really wanted to play with, I really didn't have time to play because I was mostly in there trying to figure out my homework alone and not knowing what I was doing and knowing how to study. Some of the stuff was tough and I would fall asleep trying to figure it out. And so I would be in there trying to figure that out, and they would come in with that, and I just wanted them to leave me alone. So eventually after I realized they weren't going to leave me alone, I just wanted to get it over with. And I didn't even realize that would constitute as sexual assault until we got caught in the situation. And yeah, that was not a good situation. That getting caught and what happened as a result of that was also very traumatizing. And the word molestation was mentioned or something like that. And that's when I realized, okay, so I can't acknowledge that I didn't consent to that. I can't acknowledge that I was violated. But at the same time, I was still punished as well, as if I did consent. So it's just like I was really punished. And that was domestic abuse in itself because of the extent that I and he was punished at, and I was made to watch them do what they did to him. And that was traumatizing. Like, I didn't want to see him getting hurt like that. I didn't like him like that. But at the same time, who I saw him as, who he was supposed to have been to me, I didn't want to watch him get hurt like that. Like, I felt like they were going to kill him. And I was young, and my mentality was a lot younger than the other people who were my age. And that it was traumatizing. And I still remember it very vividly until this day. I don't think I will ever forget that. And I kind of wish I could, but I will never forget that. And every once in a blue moon, I run into this person, and it bothers me that they try to act like it never happened, or they try to act like they've never apologized. And if they did apologize, it wasn't, they may have apologized after they tried to deny that it happened, and to deny that it happened the way it happened. And then after I expressed to them how it affected me, then they may have vaguely apologize and act like it was just supposed to be over with, and that's not cool. Like, I still live with that. And then I got older and I had different situations, but then that was just with the sexual abuse. And I've also had domestic violence because I was abused physically abused, not in a sexual manner, but like beat by um multiple people in my family, mostly one. And I won't say any names, but my family knows who I'm talking about. But of course, there's deniability in that. They try to deny it because they did a very good job at making it seem like, oh, we had this really close relationship and we were like this. That's what everybody seemed to have thought because of the way things were portrayed. Like, it was always mostly behind closed doors. There was some humiliation in front of people, but it was done in a very clever way where nobody really understood what was going on. And so they just thought that I was just this quiet, reserved. Well, I'm not going to say quiet because I was very talkative when I did open up, but they just always thought that I was this reserved, didn't do a lot of, I wasn't a normal teenager. I wasn't a normal preteen or even before that. They just thought that I just wasn't normal, I guess, and that I didn't have the aspirations as all the other kids. And I did. I did. I wanted all of the same things. I didn't want to do all the negative things. I didn't do no sneaking out of the house. I didn't do any using drugs, as I found out later that a lot of the kids were doing. I didn't do any of that. I didn't want to have sex at a young age. I wanted to wait until I was married. Like, I was genuinely doing my best to be a good girl, and it just seemed like it was nothing was ever good enough, and that still affects me, and that still affects me, and I'm 34. So, and I've heard people tell me that, oh, you're grown now, get over it, move on. Like, the person who told me that themselves have been through some things, and I don't understand how they don't understand that you don't just get over it. Maybe they're like not allowing themselves to realize that the things that they do is probably a direct result of the things that happen to them. Maybe they just convincing themselves that everything's all right and that they're just perfectly fine and that it has nothing to do with any of that. And that's not the case. Like, I know for a fact that some of the things that I know that they've discussed with me that has happened to them, it makes sense and it adds up to the way they are. And that's the same thing that's going on with me. Like, I look at myself and I look at the way I do things, the way I think, the way my emotions are, the way I react to things. I know that it's a direct effect of those things because when certain things happen, it reminds me of those times. And I don't want to be reminded of those times. And I don't want to react to things the way I react to things. And I don't want to have the emotions that I have sometimes and all of that. So it's a very real thing. But I say all of this to say that, oh, and also, so I got into a marriage that was also abusive. I will identify that I was in an abusive marriage. And I stayed for a little while. I was in there, but it was abusive before we even got married. And I stayed in that situation, one, out of the strong desire to be married, to the strong desire to not be having sex and not be married, the strong desire for my kids to have a whole complete family that I did not have, and all of those things, and just trying to live right and also trying to give my kids what I didn't have. And I stayed with the idea of me sticking it out and sucking it up for my kids. But I left when one of my kids was directly in the midst of the situation, And that's where the line was drawn, because absolutely not. Like, no, everything I do is for my kids. And so with me staying, I was willing to deal with the hurt and the pain and the abuse personally, as long as my child was being loved and taken care of, and wasn't having to be aware of what was going on. But when it comes to my child being actually hurt by it, and like, that was where the line was drawn. That was not going to happen. So yeah, the police was called and I left. And it was helpful that the way that the police handled it, to an extent, the fact that they banned him, and he got arrested, but he got right back out. But the apartment complex banned him from the apartment, and that did help me, because if had he been able to come back, I'll be honest, I might have stayed. I don't know. I can't say. But the other reason why I stayed is because I was a stay-at-home wife and mother, and he was in the military, and we were living. I mean, although I was dealing with the physical abuse, financially everything was taken care of. He was not financially responsible. I had to help manage that in order for bills to stay paid and fully paid on time and all of that. But the finances were there, and to go from having somebody else being the sole provider when it came to finances for the most part, to now, where will I go? Like, if I leave him, where am I going to go? I don't have that type of family that's going to just take me in and say, hey, just come here, I got you. That wasn't an option that was provided to me. Even when the situation all fell apart, I ended up homeless, and I have I suppose to have a lot of family. So yeah, that wasn't an option for me. So the question in my head was always, if I leave, where am I going to go? So it's like, and he knew that. So he would always throw up in my face and say stuff like, oh, you're going to be right back where I found you. Even though he didn't find me homeless, um, he did not. But at the beginning of our relationship, I did end up homeless. That's actually how we got together, out of me being thrown out. And, he jumped in and tried to act like the hero. And, I'm not trying to say that ungratefully, but I just feel like the intentions weren't pure. And because if they were pure, that it would have never turned out the way it turned out. Although in that situation, I was not looking at my husband. When everything came down, the last situation, I wasn't looking at my husband. But all of the other situations and what boiled up to that situation was all him. So, not saying all him as in all his fault, but what he did in his character, that was all his character. So yeah, but I explain all of that to help people understand that there are different reasons that people stay in a situation, and it's not always out of just simply put stupidity. It's not just out of not knowing your self-worth exactly, because I did know that I was worth more than that. But I also realized that I didn't have anybody else expressing to me that they knew I was worth more than that, and that they was willing to help me to get to my worth. And so it was like, I'm going to stick it out until I can get myself in a better situation, which wasn't showing any signs of coming any closer, because he was doing a very good job at making sure of that. Um, like, although I managed the finances, he also kept a strict hold on the finances, where I wasn't afforded anything extra. Like, if I wanted something, I couldn't say, give me the money and let me go and be able to get what I want to get. It would be more like, you let me know what you want and I'll get it for you, type of situation. So there was never any extra for me to put aside, or for me to, do anything extra to get myself out of that situation. And people say, oh, you should have got a job and so on and so forth. But situations had happened before that with my one of my kids, and I didn't really trust anybody to watch my baby, and being a stay-at-home mom was the best option. Just like now, being a stay-at-home mom is the best option. Although now I work, I hustle and grind, and I was trying to hustle and grind then, but I just felt more comfortable and more relaxed. Like I didn't feel like I had to do as much as I have to do now, because I had a husband who was making good money and had us living in a nice place. At the last place was a very nice place. And it wasn't a situation where I felt like I had to. Um, I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a very difficult. It's not easy. It's not something that you can just say, oh, I'm going to just throw everything away and, go from this to nothing. Like, I don't know. You always have that hope in mind that, okay, I'm going to be able to get myself in a situation where I can leave under better circumstances and not leave and have nothing. Um, because, yeah, that never feels like the option until it gets like really, really bad. And that was the case. But I say this to say that if you are in a situation where you are being abused and you feel like there's no option, um there is options out there for you. You can build up that courage to walk away, because nobody deserves that. And even if you're in a situation, and I say this from personal experience too, because that has made me become very aggressive myself. I can admit I'm the type of person, and I found out that me talking about this is another reason why I don't talk about it, because I found out by me talking about it, people take, oh, she's the vulnerable one. She's the one who always gets this to happen to her. She's the one that people are able to do this and that to her. So I'm going to try to do this and that to her because she's an easy target. People don't realize that those things have turned me into a very hardened. I'm still very soft and emotional, but it's turned me into a very um I can be yeah, it's not nobody wants to try to do that to me. I'm gonna just say that, because it can be a bad situation for you. And and that's not saying to you, but to whoever tries to do that to me. And so um yeah, if you're like noticing signs, go ahead and leave now while it's easier. I mean, not saying it's easy, but go ahead and leave now before it really changes you, because it can really change you. Like, the person I am today is so far off from the person I used to be. And I don't like that, but I'm the way I am now for my safety and my security. And a lot of people don't get that, and a lot of people try to talk down about me because of the way I am now. But you know what? It is what it is, because at the end of the day, I learned that who's going to protect me if I don't? Who's going to secure me if I don't? So it is what it is. But you have to build up the strength and the willpower and the courage to walk away from a situation that makes you feel like you're changing, or a situation that you don't deserve, a situation where you're being abused in any way, shape, form, or fashion. And what I was about to say is that even if you're the person in a situation where you have somebody that provokes you to get out of character, to provoke you to be something that deep down inside you don't want to be. Like now, how if I'm in a situation now that I feel like I'm being way more aggressive than I would like to be in my life, and especially on a regular basis, I'm going to walk away from that, because that's abuse as well. Because if somebody's constantly, there are people out here who will purposely push buttons and purposely try to trigger you, because they get entertainment out of it or something, out of showing you out to be the bad person when secretly they know what they're doing. And so that's abuse in itself. So yeah, a situation like that as well, walk away, because it's better for you to walk away from a situation like that, even if you love the person. Like, sometimes you have to love a person from a distance. Leave it alone, Muffy. We're gonna brush our teeth. She loves brushing her teeth. But sometimes you have to love a person from a distance, because there are people out here that are just way too toxic. They like I said, some people allow the things that happen to them and the things they experience or seen to make them become the same thing or worse. And if you don't want that to be you, then you have to walk away, because they have made their choice, and you have to let people make their choices, and that's their choice, and you have the choice of whether you want to be a part of that or not. Muffy, stop for you fall. So this video is long. I hope you all got my message. I hope my message got through very clearly, because this was not supposed to be just a outing anybody video, which is why I didn't say any names or identify, except for the marriage part. That one can't be made too secret, and really I don't really care too much about making that secret, because reality is reality. But the other stuff I'm not gonna identify, because that's still my family, and we already have enough struggle and chaos in our family as it is, and I don't want to be a part of adding to the drama and the craziness. So, but I did for myself need to talk about that, and for others who are going through it still, or who are still just dealing with the after effects of it, to hopefully it can be some encouragement and some empowerment, and I hope this video can help you. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and cut this video off now, because again, it's long. So I appreciate you watching my video. If you're not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. I want to go ahead and say we're reaching towards the first 500. We've already bypassed the first 100, which I'm so grateful for. Put it back. Put it back. Which I'm so grateful for. Now we want to go ahead and get to the first 500, and then to 1,000. So, go ahead and subscribe now. Hit the notification bell. Share this video with anybody that you think or that you know is going through anything abusive, domestic violence, anything of the sort. And let them know that it can be okay. And that they can find the strength to walk away, and to make their own path, and make a better life for themselves. And so with that, I say stay up, stay love, and most definitely stay safe. Peace.